Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're digging into the EX500, getting these carburetors fixed up so this thing will run like a champ. So let me show you what we got going on. We had to open up the top of the carbs and the bottom of the carbs because we got to change the needle from the top and the main jet from the bottom. So what we're doing is pulling out the spring. I already took the cap off, or the top lid, I don't know what you want to call it. So carefully pull out your spring. Usually the needle holder will come with it, not in this case. And then if you carefully don't rip your boot or your diaphragm, you can pull all that out together. So your needle holder is what's stuck in there right now. Okay, well, that's good that the needle holder is holding. Come on. All right. Well, that hurts to push on the needle with one hand. Come on, boss. There we go. That was only one ride. It was sitting in there like that. Okay, so this is good. Let's stick this back in. She's ready to seat back in there. You can only put it in one way, so you can't really get it wrong. Make sure that sits in the groove. I had these upside down, so hope that's the only reason they got a little gas on them. All right, so there we go. That's back installed. Our needle holder can come over here, and that's going to actually be reinserted into the spring. And that's going to drop back in there when we put the needles in. So now, let's look at why this sucker wouldn't run on main jet. First, let's look at the OEM parts that I should have been using. This is your OEM main jet. It is a 130. The number is stamped right on the edge. Right on the edge here. So you can't read it on video camera most likely, but right up here on the edge it says 130. Trust me, it's there. So these are your main jets. Mine are perfectly clean. I made sure they were clean. But when I ordered my cheap kit off of eBay, it came with these guys. Well, first of all, you can probably see they look a little cheaper than those. And they are actually labeled. They are labeled 102. Well, right off the bat, if they're labeled 102, it's either a different scale or it is wrong. So main jets are not correct for this EX500. Next thing you look at, these are the needles that we pulled out. These are the needles that came with the cheap kit. These needles are actually labeled, and I'll tell you in a second. I gotta turn on my light. These needles are labeled N67N. So these are the needles that came with the kit. Whereas the OEM needles are labeled N36N. So they seem to be on the same scale, but you know what? Take a look at this. They're just slightly different. You can see our needles are a bit skinnier and they're pointed differently at the top. So all things aside, this kit does not work for the EX500. This kit was sold on eBay, and it was supposed to work for EX250, EX500, EN500, I believe even the 454 LTD. So, you know what? They all use different parts. So when it comes to putting them in your bike, which one does it actually work for? I don't even know yet. I'd like to look it up, but obviously it didn't work on my bike. So we're throwing them aside. The reason I have this carburetor kit taken apart is because I'm stealing needles out of my 94 EX500. They are OEM. They are labeled correctly. This is the N36N. And the main jets I'm using off of my original ones that came with the 91. So we're using the 130 main jet. So once we drop these guys in, this one, yep, just want to aim for that middle hole and drop her straight down in. Be careful as you do it. I don't know how mine got bent on my original needle, but it did. So there you go. Slides carefully and easily in. And you want to put your needle holder and your spring back in. And then drop the cap on. Make sure you don't pinch the edge of the gasket or the diaphragm, because that's going to seal it all up. And you don't want air leaking in there, and you don't want to rip it. So I'm going to tighten this down and show you the bottom side. Here we are on the bottom side. You have your pilot jet down in there. See, we're not touching that. That's good. That was OEM. And then your main jet goes in the main jet holder right here in the top and the end. So we're actually going to go ahead and put the 130s in. No more of those 102s. So the 130 is going to screw right in there. Don't want to make them too tight. Just going to hand tighten them for now and give them a little bit of a, just a little bit of a turn with a proper screwdriver. There we go. And then all I need to do is go ahead and put the float bowl back on. And then reinstall the carburetors. Is one thing I want to show you on the that I noticed when I took the bike apart. So when I had the tank on, I noticed that it was a little bit wet with gas around the fuel petcock, and it was dripping down here, down there, and down onto the floor. So that tells me something's leaking from the fuel petcock. And under further investigation, it's just the gasket that it's not focusing. It's not focusing. There you go. Come on. There she is. I won't show you, but the gasket that sits between the tank and the fuel petcock must be leaking a little bit. So I might put a little bit of gasket material on there, or I'll just order a rebuild kit for the gasket, or for the fuel petcock, and that'll come with the gasket. So all in all, we'll take care of that little bit of a leak. I'll get these carburetors reinstalled. You've seen how to do that in previous videos. Go back and watch them if you didn't. And we'll take this for another test ride. And hopefully we got all the bugs worked out. I know. Oh, I need to mention something. When we were riding, you guys remember that the glare? You guys remember that the speedometer wasn't working, and the trip odometer wasn't working, and the odometer wasn't working? Well, there is not a cable hooked up anywhere. So the cable that would run from the wheel up to the speedometer, there is no cable. So I'm either going to have to buy one or see if I have one in parts here. So that's the fix for that. Put a cable on, I'm sure it'll probably be fine. Other than that, I need to just make sure that I can put all the fairings back on. But I wanted to get it running first before it was put all back together, because obviously had to take it apart. So anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to put these carbs back in, and I'm sure we're going to be good to go. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the road. Get out there and ride.